Gathering Flowers by Samma, Lynne, based on the myth of Persephone and Hades. Rhapsodized by Persephone.
The sun shone brightly when Hades fell in love.
When he saw Persephone,
daughter of the harvest,
for the first time she danced around the lake,
playing with the nymphs Acaste
and Admete,
in Anira.
She gathered armfuls of flowers, naming each one with loving care.
She wove wreaths for the lake-bound nymphs.
She happily splashed water into the sunlight,
cascading rainbows around herself.
He did not wait to see her a second time,
before he pled with Zeus to have her as his wife.
You have always scoffed at beauty and love,
said the king of the gods.
What changed?
I saw the purest flower,
said the king of the underworld.
But everything you touch wilts. Everything you love must die.
Must die.
Even death wouldn't dampen her beauty. Wilted, she would outshine all. I must have her.
Perhaps it was not love after all?
Zeus offered no further arguments.
Persephone was gathering flowers for the last crown when a golden glint caught her eye.
She saw a flower she had no name for.
The most beautiful she had seen.
Many paces from the lake.
Persephone, come back!
Cried the nymph.
Entranced,
she paid them no heed.
I must have it,
she breathed.
She tried to pluck the flower.
It resisted.
She tugged,
and planted her feet into the ground,
and tried with a might that she had never summoned before to tear it from the earth.
Persephone, leave it!
Cried the nymph.
Determined.
Persephone paid them no heed.
Finally, the flower gave way to her.
She stumbled back with the momentum,
until a black steed halted her progress.
She turned.
The sun eclipsed behind a helmet when Persephone fell in love.
When she saw Hades,
king of the underworld,
for the first time he cast a shadow
that cooled her sun-bitten skin.
She didn't think to scream as he pulled her from the ground,
held her to his chest,
and galloped away.
The nymphs screamed and wailed for her.
No!
Persephone, come back!
Why?
No one heard their protests until Demeter came looking for her child.
The flowers and vines pulled by Persephone grew again in Demeter's wake.
Where is Persephone?
She asked.
Her voice a warm spring breeze.
She was taken!
Cried Acaste.
By whom?
She asked.
Her voice a hot afternoon.
The lord of the underworld.
Cried Admete.
To where?
She asked.
Her voice the quiet in the heart of a storm.
We know not!
Cried Yanira.
And you did nothing?
She screamed.
And gales tore the surface of the lake.
We could not! The nymphs cried together.
Worthless fools!
The mother of the earth waved her hands.
Spat a curse.
Metamorpho!
And the beautiful nymphs transformed into scale and feather sirens.
Then her anger transformed into grief.
For she knew not of any of the entrances to the underground.
Desperately she searched, far and wide.
Going madder.
And madder.
With despair.
Most could or would not tell her.
Until tender-hearted Hecate finally took pity.
The goddess of crossroads knew that particular crossroad well.
Come, dear mother of the earth,
she whispered,
and led Demeter to the nearest entrance.
But no one came.
No matter how they pounded on the door.
Demeter hissed and then screamed.
And then fled, and then wept.
And then fell to her knees, her knocks subsiding.
The bringer of harvest sat there for many days, and the earth grew barren for her neglect.
Faced with a dying world, Zeus had no choice but to find Demeter.
He tried to reason with her, but she would listen to no one without having her daughter back.
Zeus rescinded his decision.
Bombarded by increasingly fervent prayers of the hungry, he led Hecate into the kingdom of death.
To deliver the news and fetch Persephone.
Down below,
Persephone attempted to reconcile new love with old love.
Hades enchanted her.
But she missed her mother.
The world below was cool and inviting.
But she yearned too for the sun.
She wove the petals of the magnificent flower into her hair.
And as she did, she could feel it dying.
Hailing in the sunless world.
Just as she felt her own body dying.
Is this the only one of its kind?
Yes.
I wish I had not taken it. See how it wilts.
But you love it.
I will only be able to love its memory once it dies.
Here, everything is already dead. There is eternity, even in death.
That is a hope. But still, I wish it could live again.
This is when Hecate found them.
Live again you must,
she said, and delivered the news of Demeter's anguish and Zeus's predicament.
Persephone did not know how to feel.
Joyful to see her mother again.
Despairing to lose her first love.
Glad to feel the sun once more.
Lost to leave her new home.
She stared wordlessly at Hecate, torn with indecision.
Though she knew she had no choice against Zeus's orders.
Hades suddenly buried one hand into her thick hair, dislodging one of the petals.
Do you love me?
He whispered in a muffled voice.
Yes.
And trust me?
Yes.
Then kiss me.
Persephone put her hands demurely on his shoulders, pressing her lips against his.
He deepened the kiss, making her squeak.
And she tasted the sharp sweetness on her tongue.
She wondered first if that was how kisses tasted.
Then she felt 6 hard shapes.
She bit down on them and recognized the face of pomegranate.
Farewell,
Hades said, kissing the top of her head gently.
Farewell.
Hecate took the maiden by the hand, leading her back to the sunlit lands.
Persephone blinked in the searing light, almost staggering back,
Arms embraced her.
and pulled her forward.
And the top of her head was kissed again.
Oh, my daughter!
Demeter cried, holding her close against her chest.
Mother!
Persephone threw her arms around Demeter.
Finally laughing, carefree as a child, the cold winds abated.
But as Demeter looked down at Persephone, she knew something had changed.
Did you eat anything down below?
First, Persephone felt childish, as if she needed to hide what she did.
But then she stood straighter, nodding resolutely.
6 pomegranate seeds.
Demeter's eyes went wide.
Do you know what that means?
Persephone shook her head.
You ate the food of the underworld. We're bound there forever.
Persephone's heart skipped 2 different beats.
Hades suddenly appeared at the entrance to the underworld.
How could you trick my innocent girl like that?
I am no monster.
Hades said evenly.
I am here to propose a deal. I ask only 1 month a seed.
You did this to undermine Zeus.
I did this because I love her.
Hades turned to Persephone.
Plant the remains of the flower.
He instructed.
It will bloom. When it wilts and dies in 6 months, it will be time for you to return to my arms. When it blooms again, you will return to your mother's embrace.
Persephone smiled.
She kissed Hades gently on the cheek.
Then she turned, kissing her mother also on the cheek.
I love you.
She said to both.
And each year,
Their flower bloomed again.
More beautiful for each
Winter's rest.